Didn't want to reach a cup final anyway. Probably would have got smashed by City in the final. Said no Villa fan ever. Absolutely annoyed by the performance on Saturday. This is a match reaction. Had to take a little bit of time just to sort of get my thoughts together about what we saw on Saturday. So welcome to a match reaction to Crystal Palace 3, Aston Villa 0. Absolutely terrible performance at Wembley. Giving it the big one and then turning up on your big day and absolutely fluffing it. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to look back. I don't even want to look back at the highlights. So this is all, from memory, from watching the game live. I haven't seen any sort of highlights or clips or anything back. So yeah, just really kind of still raw, really, still hurts. Because I was really looking forward to Villa getting to the final. We kind of talked about it pre-game that, we would need to play the right team to beat Crystal Palace, which is absolutely right. And you've got to say from the outset, when the team lineup was announced, obviously, first of all, no Marcus Rashford in the squad, which obviously was a big surprise. We've later learned that he's done a hamstring, perhaps, and that's probably him done now for the season, I would imagine. And then he can't play against Man United in the final game anyway. So is that the last we see of Marcus Rashford at Aston Villa? And then the team lineup announced, and I said it in my preview, and obviously, who am I to challenge sort of Unai Emery? But we've played Palace so many times this season, three times previously this season, and each time, it's been the same. They play the same way. They've got power up front with Jean-Philippe Mateta. They have pace in abundance all over the pitch, especially with Sarr, Eze, Munoz, and Mitchell getting forward. You've got Adam Wharton, who controls their midfield for them with quick passes. If I can see that as a supporter, then surely Unai Emery and his backroom staff have got to pick up on that and got to put the team out accordingly. I mean, I said I wanted pace. I wanted power in the team. We needed players who were going to stretch them. We needed some width. And we didn't get any of that from the team lineup. So we went with, obviously, Martinez in goal, who I think could have done a lot better with maybe one or two of the goals, perhaps. And, we'll come on to individual kind of performances and match sort of player ratings in a moment as well. But just collectively, the team did not show up at all. We're looking absolutely really, really tired. Why this guy here in your picture, Pau Torres, started ahead of Tyrone Mings when you're up against Jean-Philippe Mateta is a mystery. Pau Torres is still feeling his way back to full fitness. He's not the same power as he was before his injury. And his error kind of led to their first goal a little bit. Having said that, the first 25 minutes of the game, it was boring. I'll be honest with you. The first 25 minutes, I don't know. I know Unai Emery wants to have this control in games and try to, wear down the opposition and wants to control. But for 25 minutes of that game, it was utterly boring. And Palace they're not going to just fall into your trap and press. There was times where Martinez had the ball at his feet, trying to invite Mateta forward or Eze, coming towards the ball and play around him. No, just stay where you are. That's what Palace did. It was like, well, no, fuck you, Martinez. We're just going to stay here. And literally for like a good minute, Martinez was just on the ball. Couldn't pass it to anyone because there was no press coming on from the Palace. And then in the end, he decides to have to go longer than he wanted to. So, this whole control thing and, trying to play out from the back, start slow, it's in football at any kind of level. It's difficult to start a game with such a slow tempo and then all of a sudden try to build it up. Villa are best when we are flying out of the traps. We saw it against Newcastle. We've seen it in other games recently as well, where we're at Villa Park and we're on the front foot. We're much better rather than trying to get into the game. Because if you try to slowly build yourself into the game and have this control, and all of a sudden the opposition score like Eze did, then you're 1-0 down. You haven't got any tempo to your play, and all of a sudden you've got to go from 0 to 100, in a very quick time, and it's hard to build up that. It's better to start fast. I'm not saying go start fast and absolutely gung-ho and, no defence and all that sort of stuff. Absolutely not. But there has to be tempo to the play. And for the first, I would say, 25 minutes until Eze's goal, not much going on in the game at all from kind of both sides. But even though Palace did look kind of threatening when they were getting forward. But the team lineup, the formation was all wrong. It's easy to say it in hindsight, but I said it in the match preview. Tyrone Mings had to play at left centre back. Ian Maatsen had to play at left back to give us some pace and energy to deal with sort of the likes of Sarr. And you saw when Maatsen did come on, yes, the game's probably done by 2-0, but he did offer a good outlet for us as well. And then, ahead of that, Tielemans and Kamara played in that defensive 2, which is fine, which is what we wanted, which is fine. But absolutely, we need to, have a look at Youri Tielemans' minutes and what he's been doing. He's played 50 games this season, started 50 games for Villa. He looked absolutely knackered. He was caught in possession 3 or 4 times. A couple of them led to their goals. Did he not have anyone calling him, talking to him? Could he not hear over the Wembley noise or whatever it was? He didn't look like the same player. We've been lauding Youri Tielemans, and I said this in my instant match reaction, about this, and it's rightly so. He has had a great season, but in the game where we needed him to show up, he was awful. Gave the ball away, sitting on it for too long, dawdling on the ball. And then ahead of that, and this is where the key is, the 3 behind the front man. Okay, Rashford out. These things do happen. He's picked up a hamstring injury. I think they wanted to see how he got on, and obviously decided not to risk it. Okay, that's fine. But then against Crystal Palace, a team who want to get their wing backs forward, who do play with width and pace. Sarr's able to drift across and move into pockets of space out wide. Same with Eze. Mateta comes short for the ball. You needed players that could pin their fullbacks back. It would have been nice to have Rashford on that left to pin Munoz back. Obviously, that wasn't available as an option. So then you've got to look at that and think, okay, well, what other options do we have that can play wide? Now, I thought Leon Bailey was our best player, man of the match for Aston Villa. But I don't expect him to start the game because obviously he's been out of the squad for the last few games, last few weeks. He's not all of a sudden going to start at Wembley. That's fine. But he had a real impact running at their fullback. We could have started with someone like Dele Alli. He was there on the bench, offers you width. When we play that 3 behind the striker, there has to be specific things that those 3 do. You can't have 3 narrow midfield players like, we had like John McGinn, Asensio and Rodgers. That just doesn't work because none of those three are going to give you any width at all. They're all narrow kind of players. You're asking Morgan Rodgers to play wide right. Not his game. It's not. He's a tucked in from the left or tucked in from the right or at best, in the best position, he's a number 10. But he's not a wide player. He's not going to get chalk on his boots and take on the fullback like a Leon Bailey can, like a Malen can probably do, and obviously Rashford can do as well. So those are your 3 players. So you have to play one of those, Rashford, Malen, or Bailey. You have to, because they're the one that gives you that width and gives you that balance. The other 2 can be Rodgers in the 10 or Rodgers from the left. And then you can either play John McGinn in the 10 or you play Asensio. I thought Asensio was terrible in the game. Absolute ghost of a performance. I'd love to see his heat map and his how many touches and passes that he did, because I couldn't see very many. Can't believe he wasn't hauled off at half time. John McGinn had an okay game, but he got pulled off before Asensio did, which didn't kind of make any sense. But yeah, it was just hugely frustrating to see that. And then Ollie Watkins, your big chance at Wembley, your big day out, you've been giving it all I've been knocking on the manager's door, asking for a chance. Why am I not playing? Here's your chance then, Ollie. Go on, give us a performance. A couple of good runs in the first half down the channel mainly, sort of pulling out wide. Fine. But nothing, second half especially, absolutely zero from, Villa in general, really. Had a chance from Luca Digne from range, which just turned around the post. I think John McGinn had a chance, but a half chance there, and Okonsa in the first half. But there wasn't that many really clear cut. And Palace missed a penalty in this game. Tyreek Mitchell could have scored in the first half. You could sort out his feet. Ismaila Sarr had a header, which was a great play from Mateta again down the wing, going past Konsa and producing a lovely cross. And then I think Sarr's sort of jumped too early, really, for it and not been able to get the right contact. But yeah, just not a great performance on your big day out. Matty Cash playing at right back. he's not someone that's going to get forward and be progressive with the ball. He's solid enough right back if you want him to stay back and just be, picking up his man, that's fine. But if you're asking him to progress the ball forward and overlap and get forward, he's rubbish at it. He's awful. He's someone that we need to upgrade massively next season. That right back position, we need to buy someone. We've got Andres Garcia now as the backup. I don't think Cash will hang around as a backup. I think we need to get rid of him and get someone in that's going to be much more progressive on that right-hand side. Cash, every time he got the ball, he just kept turning in, passing it back to Konsa or Kamara. There's not if Matty Cash had a positive thought, I think he'd faint. There's not a positive ball in him. There's not a positive run in him. It's just check back, check back, check back, give it back to Kamara, give it back to this guy. It's just, teams will figure you out. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, my main thing was the lineup. No Mings, no leadership. This is a group of very talented kind of individuals, but have lacked a leader. John McGinn is not a leader. He's a good player and he tries his best, but he's not a leader as such. Emery Martinez, you could say, it's difficult being a leader from the goalkeeping position. You need a voice on the pitch, and I think Tyrone Mings gives you that. The physicality, him and matched up against Mateta would have been so much better. I mean, Mateta was playing like prime George Weah at times, the way he was running through us. Eze, his goal, the first one, I mean, Martinez could have done better. I think his positioning was kind of a little bit wrong. It was hit well, but it wasn't like right in the corner. And I would expect a goalkeeper like Emery Martinez to be saving that. And he has made quite a few mistakes recently. Is he starting to believe his own hype that he is the world's best keeper? And, but he needs to step up himself. He needs to look at himself and his performances and the goals that he's conceded recently. Not good enough, Emery. Absolutely not good enough. Second goal for them, obviously Ismaila Sarr. Again, can we just sign this guy so he can't score against us? We can't handle Ismaila Sarr. We can't handle that pace and that power that he has. Again, I think we're trying to play out the back. I think it's Tielemans dawdles on the ball. They nick it. They break forward. Kamara can't get to it. And then Ismaila Sarr actually shoots from range. Who thought you could score from range? Don't have to pass it to the goal line and tap it in. You can shoot from range, guys. And Ismaila Sarr hits the ball well. And again, Emery Martinez beaten from that range, no deflection on it, nothing like that. He's got a long way to look at where the ball has travelled from. I just felt maybe Martinez could have done better with that one as well. And then obviously the penalty that they won, dubious, given after VAR looked at it as well. Mateta hits the post with it, and that's 1-0 down, by the way. Mateta hits the post, and you think from there, come on, guys, fucking wake up. Wake the fuck up. This is Wembley. He's just missed a penalty. He's just given you a lifeline back into the game. But no, nothing. I mean, even at that point, you could have changed something up. But no, Emery waited until 2 goals down to make the changes. By then, what is the kind of point? And he didn't even go 2 up front, really, did he? Until Malen came on with like 10 minutes to go, and I'm not sure where he was playing in the end, but it was just like, chasing the game at 2-0, you probably do need 2 strikers up front now. I said Asensio, non-existent. Morgan Rogers, I mean, I love the guy, fantastic player, but are we at risk of burning him out? Genuinely. He's playing too much football. He looks knackered. Tielemans looks knackered. And this is where we got to last season. So I know we didn't have the squad depth last season, but this season, we certainly have. Why didn't Onana come on? Onana played really well against Newcastle, scored his goal. Probably our best player against Manchester City comes off early and then we lose the game. Didn't even get on the pitch today. He decided to go with Ross Barkley. Ross Barkley, you've signed for what? 6 million. Onana, 50 million. Surely Onana's ahead of Barkley, and Barkley's obviously been injured as well, and a bit further back in his his sort of recovery. I mean, Barkley, he did all right when he came on. Did all right, but I thought Onana should have come on. And if I was Onana, I'd be asking questions like, "This is Wembley. Why am I not coming on?" After scoring against Newcastle, putting a good performance there, and then arguably being our best player against Manchester City. So these are little things that Emery's got wrong recently. And this is when it's the important time of the season. We saw this last year against sort of Olympiacos when our I mean, the squad was pretty much dead on its feet at that stage of the season. But this season, there isn't any excuses. We've got we've got the squad depth. We've got 2 players per position, almost, or you probably have actually. So there isn't that excuse that you can say, "Oh, it's tiredness." But we're going back to Morgan Rogers. I mean, are we absolutely gonna, this he's playing too much football. He's gonna burn out. I dare say it. Is he going to be another Dele Alli? Do you know what I mean? Have a great start to his career early on, and then in a couple of years' time, because of the amount of football that he's playing, of the injuries that he's going to be picking up, are we going to risk of really burning out this player? I hope not, and I don't think we will. But we all hyped up Dele Alli when he came through the system when he was young, and he was getting goals, recognition, England caps, and look at him, 5 years later. But Morgan Rogers, there's times where he stayed on the pitch when there's no need to. We could be winning the game, but for some reason he stays on the pitch. He starts every game, every single game. He's not a wide player. He's not a winger. We need to change that. He's a number 10, or he plays tucked in from the left-hand side, or tucked in from the right-hand side, depending if you've got a left winger or a right winger playing. Yeah, as I said, Leon Bailey, man of the match for me. So let's do quickly the player ratings. Emi Martinez, I thought he was awful. Distribution wasn't great. I'm going to give him a 2 out of 10. Matty Cash, Mr. Negative, Mr. Cut back and play it back and pass back. I'll give him a 2. I think that he did. Luca Digne had that shot, chance there, didn't do much, didn't get forward really. I think Maatsen was crying out for Maatsen on that Wembley pitch. I'll give Digne a 3 just for having that shot. Pau Torres giving away the first goal, looked clumsy, rubbish. Distribution, his passing is normally his big thing, and his passing was off so many times. There were so many passes that he was trying to put that he overhit. It was embarrassing. I'll probably give him a 1. Ezri Konsa next to him, bullied by Mateta in the first half down the flank. Had a header that was saved. I think he had a chance to get in again, and another glancing header misses it again. I'll give him a 3. But maybe he should have scored his chance in the first half. Tielemans, dead. Absolutely dead on his feet. 2 out of 10. Again, misplaced passes, not looking fit or just blowing. You can see by the 70th minute, I think one of the cameras sort of zoomed in on him. He was dripping with sweat. He looked like he'd run 3 marathons. He was absolutely dead on his feet. So Yuri Tielemans, I'll give him a 2. Boubacar Kamara, who I've waxed lyrical about, and he's probably one of the best defensive midfield players in the Premier League. I still stand by that. I thought he started well, but faded. He had a booking as well. Ultimately, it sort of came off. I'll give Boubacar Kamara 3. Ahead of that, this is not going to be good reading. John McGinn, I thought he started brightly, buzzed around a little bit, put in a good cross, I think, for the Konsa chance. Had a chance in the second half as well. I thought he was the only one out of the 3 that looked dangerous. I'll give him a 4. 4 out of 10 for John McGinn. And then next to that, Asensio, the ghost, mate. Casper the ghost. Absolutely. He's won 3 Champions Leagues. He's used to playing in these big games. But for me, he obviously only can play in the number 10 position. He's not a wide player either, or he can play with one of them tucked in positions, as we talked about with Rogers. But Asensio was hugely disappointing, and how he sort of stayed on the pitch after half time, I'm not sure. I have to give him a 1. I can't remember anything that he did. It was just hugely disappointing. I think he needs to impact the game from the bench. He seems lost when Rashford's not there. And then the other side of that, Morgan Rogers, again, he looks knackered. He looks like he's burning out. He's fizzling out this season. I hope not. We've still got a few games to go, and he still needs his contribution. But he looks absolutely like he can't run anymore. There was a couple of runs in the first half, but he just looks knackered. And I don't want to see him on the right wing. Come on, Emery, just change that. Put him back in the 10. Put him back in the tucked-in position. Don't play him and waste him out wide, because that's not his position. And we just can't do that. So for me, Rogers, 3 out of 10. And then Up front from that, Ollie Watkins. I don't actually remember any chances that he had. A couple of runs out wide in the first half, as I said. I'm struggling to think of what he did. 1 out of 10 for Watkins. And if you look at the subs, Maatsen, positive when he came on. I'll give him a 6. Bailey, when he came on, very positive. Man of the match for us. I'll give him a 7. Barkley, when he came on, looked okay. Did all right. A couple of little spins here and there. I'll give him a 6. Malen, when he came on, running around a bit. Didn't get too much time, though. 5. And then Jacob Ramsey, obviously, in your picture here as well. Didn't do a lot either, to be honest. 5 as well for Jacob Ramsey. But yeah, we really need to get the Premier League campaign back on track now. 4 games to go. Fulham coming up next on Saturday, sort of lunchtime. You know, how are the players going to feel going into the last 4 games when we still need to chase down, ideally, a Champions League? And we do need Champions League. This is the thing. We can't settle for Europa or Conference. We need to beat Fulham on Saturday. We've then got Bournemouth, then we've got Tottenham, and then Man United. It's possible with what those other teams have got going on still, Tottenham and Man United in Europe, playing out at Europa League, what it was called. Bournemouth, held by United yesterday, last gasp goal. You know, their chances are probably diminished now for getting into sort of Champions League anyway, so definitely. But we need to look at ourselves and we need to get 12 points. Anything less than 12 now and anything less than 5th place in the Champions League is going to start really taking the gloss of what was a really good season. Obviously, getting quarterfinals of the Champions League, semi-finals of the FA Cup. You know, we could have beaten these guys and got to Wembley, and then you got Man City in the final. But you know, we probably would have blown it there anyway. To be fair, so maybe it's best to lose at the semi-final rather than the final. But hugely disappointing evening watching that. Just nobody turning up. But guys, yeah, so you know, I wanted to jump on. I wanted to give a reaction to it. You know, I didn't really want to sit here for 20 minutes, but you know, you gotta follow up with everything that you do. So it's like I just wanted to jump on and give my feelings for the game. It's just really disappointing. You know, seeing as we've played Palace, this is the 4th time this season, lost 3 of them. Surely we would have known what Glasner would have been up to. They don't change too much from how they play. It's not rocket science. You know, they play 3 at the back. They're wing backs, and they've got Eze and Sarr behind Mateta. But surely you've got to look at that and think, right, we have to match them up in terms of physicality, pace, and get those players on the pitch, get some width on the pitch to pin back the fullback. You know, it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science at all. So we go against Fulham now. It is a must-win game. We've got to keep the season going. We have to have the players too. Not sure if Rashford's going to, you know, put on a Villa shirt again for us, but you would say that his loan spell has been successful. Where do we sit on Asensio? You know, when he first arrived and everyone was like loving him, loads of goals and assists, we were like, yep, sign this guy up. Now it's almost like, okay, well, how does he fit into our team? What's his wages are going to be like? You know, is he going to want near enough 200,000 a week? Is he worth that? Does he get into our strongest starting 11? It's up for debate as well. But I was surprised and happily surprised to see Leon Bailey come on the pitch and deliver a really good performance, because that performance from Bailey has been missing. So that was good to see. I think Daniel Malen can do something similar on that right-hand side for us as well. I think we just need to utilise him a bit better. I'm hoping Maatsen now is going to get a run in the team at left back. And yeah, I hope Tyrone Mings gets back in at left centre back, because we look much more solid with Mings and Konsa. Because Pau Torres at the moment isn't right. He's a really good player. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not writing off Pau Torres at all. He certainly is definitely a really good player. But I think he still needs a bit of time to come back from his injury. And I think this sort of game, the magnitude of it was probably too much for him. And we should have started with Mings. But it's all good saying that in hindsight, isn't it? I mean, but anyway, guys, I'm not going to waffle on too much more. Enjoy your working week. Please do like, subscribe, comment. You know, let me know your thoughts on the game. Did you go to it? What was the atmosphere like? I've heard some podcasts saying that even Villa got it wrong in terms of, you know, how we were kind of seated around Wembley and to build up the atmosphere. Palace were very loud and, you know, we seemed quite subdued. Was it because of the Rashford team news coming through that everyone kind of felt a little bit subdued? but there wasn't that kind of sparkle from the Villa fan base apparently at Wembley. Let me know, if you were there. What did you think? Was it just a shock of Rashford not being in the squad? But yeah, let me know, guys. Like, subscribe. Let's grow the channel. I want to get to 500 subscribers as soon as possible. We're nearly there. And yeah, just up the mighty Villa. Let's go again on Saturday. Let's get these last 4 Premier League games done. Let's get Champions League. Up the mighty Villa.